No. Please stop burning me. I don't want to keep getting hit. Just want to get back to base. Let's go. It's Rell, and let's dive into Death's Gambit. White Rabbit's 2D Souls-like Metroidvania. Alduin, the nation with the source of immortality, fell to ruin. Mortal kings sent expeditions to claim the fallen nation's secrets, but one by one they failed. Halted by an exiled god, many heroes fell to the immortals, including a young warrior named Soren. Death entrusted a fragment of his soul to us, an observer, to restore balance. After the fantastic opening, wonderful music and visuals, we pick our class, each with a nice little description and the ability to playtest. Then we are treated to a really nice cutscene using in-game sprites showing how we died. Immediately after, we are treated to a scene giving us the villain's motivation. I love when games give the antagonists more reason to be there than, we need an evil guy. You have control as you ride your horse along a gorgeously drawn forest path. The credits subtly appear at the bottom of the screen. I love when credits and cutscenes give you active control of your character. The early tutorial is great, giving small amounts of info and forcing you to demonstrate the skills to move on. It also introduces you to the style of puzzles you'll see going forward, mostly jumping with some interactable objects, revealing/moving around more platforms. We fight our first enemy, and I know I'm supposed to be paying attention to the fight, but what is that in the background on the right? I love background details like this. They add mystery and an outside scale to the world. After beating him, we talk to a friendly NPC, and I like when games give you dialogue choices. But this one doesn't really. Rell has the exact same response no matter which option you choose. I get that voice acting and branching dialogues makes for a ton of additional work, but if you don't want to do that additional work, then don't. Having a protagonist with a set personality is okay. I love the art style, particularly the characters' splashes during conversations. They're really pretty. We get our Phoenix Plumes, a consumable health restoring item that refills when you rest at a Death's Idol. Yeah, the game clearly takes inspiration from Souls-like games. But it's because the systems in them are great, and Death's Gambit did a great job reflavoring them to fit the world. I really enjoy the Augment Plume feature. You can give up maximum healing charges to increase your damage, and it's free to swap back and forth. Also, at Death's Idols, you can level up, spending Essence, which is your currency for shops as well, to raise one of your stats. I dislike the strength finesse divide. Each boosts different sets of weapons, but has no other effect. It only serves to almost immediately lock a player into their weapon category choice. It removes flexibility without any benefit. Some classes get abilities that let you use the opposite modifier, but they don't change the stat required for the weapon type's abilities, making it feel really disappointing. With Intelligence, it at least scales your magic defense, giving it a reason to be a different stat. If they just added something to differentiate them, it would be fine. A couple of the control choices felt odd to me. Tying jump and climb to the same button took some getting used to, particularly with it being the up arrow. For people who are more experienced with 2D side-scrollers, is this regular? It's not that it was hard to rebind or adjust to, I just got a few laughs falling off ladders unintentionally. Having the escape button just pause the game. To find the options menu, you need to go into the gameplay relevant menus. Not a big deal, just an extra second of confusion for me. Now, the game nails combat. Hitboxes are excellent, movement is fluid, attacks have just the right amount of lock-in to require some planning without being too punishing. Different types of enemies reward different approaches. You have 2 weapon slots that any weapon can go in. Each weapon has a basic attack and a finisher. One thing that wasn't explained, but proved really useful, was that if you only have one weapon equipped, your right mouse button will be the finisher, an additional option for players to choose. I love that you have a massive inventory. Lets you keep tons of weapons and armors to try out. It is great that attacking enemy generates energy for your abilities. Rewarding aggressive play makes for way more intense fights. I also like the environmental hazards, like this giant firebird. I love the audio cue attached to its appearance. The game does a fantastic job rewarding you for exploring. You can find journals with small bits of lore about each boss, and each one gives you a damage boost against the associated boss. There are tons of items scattered around to give you a leg up. Oftentimes, you will see an item that is out of reach. Sometimes a clever use of mechanics will get you there, i.e. jump, hover attack, air dash from a high up ledge. Others require new abilities you unlock later. Don't spend too long trying to get items. You can also find additional plumes, increasing maximum or alternative plumes, giving them a runner effect, like a short defense boost. There are also crafting recipes and additional skill books hidden away. Some chests can only be opened if you have your maximum number of plumes, rewarding playing without taking damage. We meet our first boss, and again, I love that they aren't inherently hostile, having a conversation and giving you a chance to return home. Know that I do this to put an end to tragedies like yours. The fight itself is really fun. She has some crazy range, really powerful dives, and very quick reversals. Some of her attacks are very hard to predict before you've seen them once, but the damage is low enough that they aren't too punishing, and once you've seen each move, none of them feel unfair. When you fail to dodge them, it's your own fault. I failed to dodge quite a few. When you die, you drop one of your phoenix plumes, and respawn at one of Death's idols. You can either spend some essence to reclaim your lost plume, or run back and pick it up. I love that you can always get plumes back, even if you forget where you lost them. If you go down to a boss, you get some essence based on how much of the health bar you took down. I love giving players the reward for partial completion, encouraging you to try again rather than grind levels elsewhere. Enemies respawn whenever you use an idol, allowing for farming of essence, which is an okay option to have in case you get really stuck on something, though I prefer the above bossing solution. Dying also increases your character's will each time, which I believe is the only way to permanently upgrade it. Interesting choice for sure. When you beat a boss, you will get talent points. They are used to unlock passive buffs. Honestly, while they aren't bad, none of the abilities really excited me. You will get cutscenes upon interacting with certain items, and more commonly dying. These cutscenes provide a bit of backstory for your character, and are a combination of sad and heartwarming. The first one being a scene between you as a child asking your mother not to leave on her expedition. Our hub is called Central Sanctuary. It contains a bunch of merchants with interesting dialogues and shops. One complaint I have with the game is that item requirements are not shown before purchase. I bought a powerful new halberd, but ended up not being able to use it for several hours. Felt pretty bad wasting over 1,000 essence. You can find additional NPCs and invite them to the hub to unlock additional systems. One of the most important features is scrapping and upgrading. Use soul stones to enhance the powers of your weapons and armor. Take apart unneeded items to get more soul stones. Helps make up for 1/3 of the weapon drops being mostly useless. One thing that felt a little awkward was that the NPCs talk about game statistics and terms, i.e. one of the merchants saying, a B rating blocks 25% more effectively. Takes me out of the world a bit. I love finding shadows of yourself, questioning who you are and your motivations. I enjoy how difficult bosses are and how dangerous certain areas can be, but I don't love having to rerun through dangerous areas to try bosses again. Can you tell I'm kinda done trying to get through this fire tunnel hitless just to get back to the boss? Unlocking double jump feels so good. It not only provides tons of additional exploration potential, but it also makes for a bunch more in-combat mobility. Really fun to use. Another thing that didn't land for me was the humor. Death mocking you when you die at least kinda fits the setting, even if it isn't really my kind of joke. But the odd, random humor lizard creatures just felt so out of place. The game has been mostly serious and gritty. And now we have a Gordon Ramsay reference with literal death in an apron taking orders from a tiny lizard in a chef's hat taller than he is. Completely took me out of the world they had been building. Okay, overall, the humor had a couple of odd choices, brought it down a little bit. But the absolute gorgeous world building and art more than made up for it. The story was interesting, if a bit predictable, and the combat and exploration made for a really fun experience. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night.